So a few things fell off my wall last night while I was sleeping, and because I was so wiped out, I did not get up to see what they were until this morning, and found that some of my nice things had landed on the floor. Now they're all dirty, and I need to wipe them down and clean them up a little bit. One of those items was a beautiful cashmere and cotton blend sweater in a winter white that I think I've worn maybe twice. It's got like a nice wide ribbed pattern and a thin knit, so it's not like a big chunky sweater. It's a perfect sweater for interviews or business meetings, and you basically wear it over a button down with a collar and cuffs, and it looks really nice. That sweater ended up on the floor with all kinds of dust and probably bugs and spiders or whatever, so I have to clean that up. But it's right around 11:20 a.m. on Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. And because we're already halfway through January, I definitely need to put away the holiday decorations. It does not feel like Christmas anymore. I usually try to keep the Christmas thing going a little bit past the Epiphany, which is January 6th, when a number of religions and cultures celebrate Christmas. Not everybody celebrates it on the 25th of December. Sometimes January 6th, which is a Feast of the Wise Men, gets celebrated instead. So I've been keeping my few holiday decorations still up, and one of them is this lovely blanket here. It looks perfectly Christmassy, but now we're definitely into January, and January is halfway over, so I have to just flip it over. There we go. So I just took care of that one item, and then the other few items just have to put them away. But it is a beautiful, very bright, very sunny morning, and normally I hate those because I'm not a morning person to begin with, and when I don't have to be anywhere early, I like to sleep in, and then of course, you get this bright spotlight of sun literally hitting you in the face as you're trying to sleep. That's never fun. But today is just a gorgeous day. I'm not sure what the feel and the vibe is, but it feels almost like spring. It's not that cold out, or maybe there's just a lot of heat in here and it's making it feel warm. And it literally feels like springtime. Spring is not one of my favorite seasons. I actually am not a spring person. I'm much more of a winter, fall kind of person. I love October. I love autumn. I love anything having to do with Halloween and Christmas. But, when spring is in front of you, you do appreciate it. You're like, yeah, this is nice. Of course. Who doesn't love, sunshine and flowers? And right now it feels like spring. I'm getting a beautiful Harvard University in the spring kind of feeling right now. Maybe because I was at Harvard yesterday. So there's that lingering kind of atmosphere from having been on the Harvard campus yesterday. Today it feels like springtime at Harvard. So I'll take it. I had to open the window because there's some marijuana smoke that's filling this unit, presumably from the empty bathroom located in Unit 78 that the landlord has not rented out for almost 3 years now, since 2022. That unit has been completely empty. It's just strange. Why would they not rent out a large unit with a private bathroom for 3 years? Unless they're doing some kind of fraudulent activity related to that unit or to getting money for that unit. Maybe they're saying that it's rented and it's not, and they're getting money for it. I don't know, but there's something really sketchy about the whole situation. And in the meantime, there's somebody constantly smoking directly behind that wall, and the smoke fills this entire corner, so that when I sit here with my back against the wall, having my coffee, I'm literally choking on marijuana smoke coming from over there. It doesn't come from below, because otherwise I would get it over in this corner, and I'm not. So I keep saying there's someone in the bathroom of 78. It's the same psychopath who was housed in Unit 78 for 10 years, a psychopath and a sex offender named Jasmine Irizarry. And I'm going to keep using that name because that is the person that keeps engaging in all kinds of harassment and breaking and entering. She has demonstrated the ability to pick locks directly in front of me while I was standing inside of my door. Irizarry picked the lock to my unit, unlocked the door, and let herself in while I was standing there watching her on several occasions. So when somebody does that, their behavior is so far off the rails of what is normal that you have to bring their identity and their behavior to light in case other people also experience this kind of criminal activity from the same psycho that you are talking about. So I'm going to keep talking about this psycho because they are a psycho and they have unusual criminal abilities because they're a career thug and won't leave people alone, right? And the police don't do anything because apparently this person is just insane. And so they're just going to let this person wander around and do crazy things. And they apparently can't do anything. I don't understand how that works. They can't do anything about someone who's criminally insane, but then they do things that are criminal and they're insane. And so the police don't do anything. I mean, what the fuck? Right? Really? Like, if they're criminal and they're insane, shouldn't they be locked up and not given a green light by the police department and by the Greenville group to just wander around and do whatever the hell they want to people? But no, that's what Irizarry, the career thug, psychopath, hacker, and IT expert, according to her friend Oleg Aleseyev, the property manager, keeps doing. She's a perving, creeping psychopath who uses surveillance devices in other people's bathrooms and living spaces to harass them based on what they do in the privacy of their living space. People who don't think that that's possible need to get their head out of the 1970s, because surveillance devices these days are the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen. And if you don't believe me, go look it up. It's called microdots. And if you can't look it up, then maybe you should just mind your own business and go live in the 70s where you belong, right? It's not the 70s anymore. Surveillance devices are not the size of a giant surveillance camera that looks like a camcorder from the 80s, right? They're tiny. You can stick them on anything, and they don't always run on Wi-Fi. Sometimes they run on other types of data, such as cellular data or non-Wi-Fi data, right? I don't know. People are just really stupid. They don't see what's in front of them. They don't understand the gigantic advances in technology that crime and criminal activities have taken over the last few years, and they're still living in the 70s and 80s. The Boston Police Department can't investigate anything that isn't like a stabbing or a shooting. They don't do cyber crimes. So when you report surveillance-based crimes, they're like, oh, well, did you find a camera? It's like, what, like a giant Nikon, telelens camera? What are you talking about, you idiots? There is no such thing as a camera anymore. The little tiny dots that capture video footage of people doing things. These dots are actually used in other countries they stick them around the keypads of ATM machines, and they have these little tiny dot-like surveillance cameras that shows people's hands activating their cards using, the keypad for the PIN. And then they use the cameras to see what PIN numbers people are punching in to the ATMs based on the card number. So that keeps happening in other countries. I was watching an Australian news documentary about microdot surveillance devices. So maybe you can go talk to the Australian authorities about the microdot surveillance devices that are being used in large numbers over there. If they're being used in Australia, they can also be used here in the US. And these pathetic morons who don't understand what I'm talking about and think that I'm imagining things need to get their heads out of their ass and maybe go travel the world a little bit and see what kinds of criminal technologies are being used in other parts of the world. Okay, so you want to be an idiot? Then go do it on your own time in your own space, you pathetic morons. But these devices exist. Irizarry seems to be part of a criminal group who claim to be activists that uses these devices to harass other people, and that's what I keep experiencing. So when I try to use my toilet and Irizarry, the psycho scum, is sitting in the vacant, permanently unrented bathroom of her former unit, smacking the wall behind my toilet in the exact same way that she did during the 10 years that she was officially and verifiably housed in the unit behind my bathroom, then that is not my imagination. That is Irizarry, the psychopath, acting exactly like she has always done since she was placed in that unit behind this wall in 2013, and continues to access the vacant former premises of the bathroom where she was officially housed for 10 years. She continues to be housed in this building. I'm not sure what a violent, psychotic, obsessive psychopath is doing in a building where people have to pay rent out of pocket and live normal lives and have jobs and responsibilities and obligations, but she needs to be moved out of this building because she's completely off the rails, psychotic, and keeps accessing the vacant bathroom directly behind my own bathroom and engaging in a lot of disruptive behavior, one of which is filling this entire corner and this entire unit with marijuana smoke that only comes from the bathroom of 78. It does not come from the hallway. It doesn't come from below. I keep having to open the window, and it never comes from the hallway because nobody ever stands in the hallway smoking marijuana for hours at a time. I would know it because then the entire area by my door would smell like marijuana, and it never does. I keep going out to the hallway, and there's never any smoke. Okay?